submission for this evening. I'm very happy to take questions.
That was 20 minutes spot on. Well done, David.
On a good day. Thank you.
Can I just kick off? You talked about police stations.
Yeah.
I wondered about Wimborne Police Station and what's its security and what the plans are for that.
So, there's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you tonight is obviously with our funding arrangements, the force has had to look at how to do things differently. So one of the areas where they can get better efficiency for the people is if they have response and neighbourhood policing having their parade first thing in the morning together. At the moment they don't have that. So response doesn't work out of Wimborne, it works out of Ferndale. So the one change I wanted to make you aware of is that first parade will be, the neighbourhood policing team will parade with them in Ferndale, and then they'll work out of your police station for the rest of the day. And that will get you a better result because they'll be able to talk closer together. That doesn't happen at the moment. So I can't say forever, right? Wimborne Police Station will stay. But it will stay with every piece of knowledge that I've got at this moment in time. Because the neighbourhood policing team will need it to work out of during the day, and there's other people who are there as well.
Yeah.
The problem that we have is we have to keep all pieces of the estate in play because we don't know what's going to come at us. Now I'm hoping that with the 3-year settlement, we've got better planning, we've got better funding. But I'll be very clear, the thing that needs to be fixed for forces like ours is a national funding formula. It can't be right that other forces in the country are able to invest, have huge reserves, basically they're net winners every time there is a grant. And other forces like us are wondering how much more we're going to have to save in order to do it. And also for the people of Dorset, it's not fair. The average percentage of a police force which is paid for by the local population is 35%. Some police forces, people only have to divvy up 20%. In Dorset, we pay 53% of the police force. That can't be right. I've written to the Home Secretary, I've written to the Policing Minister, I make the point every time I have an opportunity, and I've asked the local MPs to make the same point. At the moment, I'm not hearing it moving. But one glimmer of hope was one grant came down and it wasn't done under the funding for that, which meant that actually we didn't have a grant. So I'm optimistic because of what Dorset Police is delivering. I'm optimistic because they're getting closer to the people and that the Chief is driving for making that service even better. I'm happy that we've got a settlement now and we know where we are for this year coming. I'll be happier once I see what the CSR does and what we get from that.
Okay, thank you. Well, a second question. We have a school council that meets here. Well, we meet, but they're all from schools, and some of them have been to Bournemouth Hall, and they've noticed a sign on some of the shop windows and the pub windows saying "Save a Space." And they were saying, wouldn't it be good if in Wimborne, if you're a bit frightened, didn't know where to go, you could go in at a place that has got that sign. And one of our councillors is really interested in that. Are you aware of that scheme?
Yeah, I think what you're talking about is the Bournemouth Unity Promise, which was paid for out of funding which I got with the local authority with the Safer Streets funding. Now, there's nothing to stop you looking at if you want to have that here or something similar here. Depends how much it's going to cost, but it could be within the Operational Relentless Community Fund, maybe.
Another councillor, Hector, you've been interested in.
Yes, so there is a scheme already in place nationally, and it's about getting Dorset on board as part of it. So yeah, I think it's going up to discuss with Dorset Council, but if you haven't heard of it,
Well, hang on, it may be that I have. What's it called?
Safer Spaces.
Safer Spaces. No, I haven't heard of that in Dorset. We've got the Pineapple Project, which looks at doing those sorts of things. We've got the Bournemouth Unity Promise, as I say. The national scheme, no, we haven't got it here. What you're asking is whether Wimborne could join the national scheme. No? No? I'm getting a no? Okay.
So there's lots of different counties already using this, and
Okay.
rather than us just as Wimborne adopting it, we want Dorset as a whole to adopt it because it is just so amazing. So I would urge you to have a look at it. They've got a really good website and educational bits about how it operates, how they will do basically all the work in finding the locations. We would come with the bid to put forward places that would be suitable, and that way people have a second option. Obviously police is first, but then if they need a little respite, they need somewhere to go to if they're feeling vulnerable, it's just a no-brainer. And
yeah, it sounds like it's doing exactly the same thing as the others, but yes, absolutely, I'll have a look at that then.
yeah, please do.
Thanks very much. Any other questions?
Just a light-hearted one, really. You say mounted. Is that in the rural areas? That's on horseback, I presume.
Yes. I'm worried about what else we would mount them on. I don't, yeah. But yes, it is, it's absolutely, it's on horseback. They're volunteers.
Not on bikes.
No, not on bikes.
No, it's actually on horseback.
Yeah,
Oh, that's good.
absolutely on horseback.
So they do quite well on that sort of thing in Canada.
Yeah, I'm not saying we've got as many as Canada, but we're aiming for 24 and we've got 16 at the moment, so we're still recruiting.
Councillor Morgan.
Yes, I had I spent quite a lot of time through here and through Wimborne Bid talking with the neighbourhood policing team. And one of the things that certainly around the Wimborne Bid table that gets discussed a lot is the opportunistic theft from shops in town. And what we have is two very large retail outlets who routinely never ever report theft. This is Waitrose and Co-op, basically never do it, because they can take it on their bottom line. Our concern, from the Wimborne Bid point of view, is that this ultimately encourages opportunism, go anywhere else, and then commit crime. And then that is exacerbated by the fact that it's so difficult for businesses, small businesses, to report. It's so timely. The system over the internet to report these crimes really isn't working particularly well, and there's been so much feedback about how it could be improved, and nobody seems to have done anything about it. And that is a real concern for me. So I think we're putting a target on our back by having the biggest employers not report, and the only people that are suffering are really the small businesses who can't afford to support it, can't afford to lose that income. So I'd love to hear about what might be done about the reporting from a business point of view.
Okay, so there's a couple of facets there. First of all, I'm in complete agreement about the issue of retail chains and how they have different philosophies, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
3.5 years ago when I came into office, I wanted to do something about shoplifting. That's why I started the Dorset Safer Business Partnership. And there was two main areas I wanted to get at. One was engagement from the police. Well, that bit sorted very much more now compared to other areas. Shopkeeper, 77% positive outcome in October. That's beyond the pale, if you see what I mean. Reporting is an issue, and you're absolutely right. The retail chains, that masks what's really going on as well. So, in October, I was able to finally have a separate meeting with all the retail chains. So that's now going to go ahead on a 6 monthly basis. I've got another one in April. And I'm talking to them about this philosophy because they do report it, but they report it internally, which doesn't help.
Yeah.
So part of that is the problem with reporting generally. Now, what I've tried to do in Dorset is to link up with UK Partners Against Crime, because they run something called a Century Sis approach. That is very much in my view, a thing which we can use now. What needs to happen is the police need to basically sort out the reporting. Two things. One, single online home, which is the way that everybody reports, is a national website. 80% of the British population are on it. So getting that to change is going to be quite difficult because there's 35 forces. So they've all got to agree that this is the top priority, you see what I mean. Nevertheless, right, what I've been doing is pushing the force to do something. And next week I've got the Dorset Safer Business Partnership, and I'm expecting a report that now they will look at an improvement in the electronic version of reporting for business crime. Because I agree with you, the theft pack is difficult. And it's difficult for a number of reasons. One reason is, actually you've just had somebody pinch, let's say a bottle of whiskey, right? What's that? That's 30 quid. But it's really, really annoying. But on top of that, then you've got the time it takes to get the theft pack, to fill it out, get it back, etc. So that's another cost to the small retailer. So that's why I want the force to have this better from the point of view of reporting. So I'm now beginning to hear that we've got progress coming. I'm hoping to have a substantive report next week as a time frame around it. So yeah, I'm in total agreement in that we've got to do this better, but we need it to be a partnership approach. We need the retail chains to work with the police. We need businesses to work with the police in order to try to address it.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, just to add to that, actually the neighbourhood police team do a very good job of going round on a fairly regular basis with the manager at Wimborne Bid and talking to businesses who have had those issues and helping with the filling in of theft packs as and when necessary. The thing is, if you haven't had the issue, you're just very standoffish with it. So it's kind of that dialogue, that communication needs to continue further.
Absolutely, and thank you for saying that. I'm really pleased to hear that your neighbourhood policing team is helping in that regard. I've been very clear that shoplifting is on the agenda as far as I'm concerned as a priority.
Okay, I think we've got time for one more question. So, Councillor Chatter.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. So I know you heard about what 80 redundancies or resignations?
78 resignations.
So did you have to pay redundancy money for the...
We did.
So will that have an impact on your workforce, and are they mainly police or civilians that you have to make redundant?
Well, this is the difficult issue that we had. Because of the way that the accounting works, the increase in police officers, we would get fined if we reduced police officers. So therefore we had to reduce, we've only got one place to reduce them, and that's police staff, in order to make our savings. And the perverse thing about this is you may have a very highly experienced member of police staff, and you have to replace them possibly with a less experienced police officer who possibly costs more. It's perverse. So we've made that point really heavily to the government about it. What I can reassure you about is that there has been a lot of work around mitigation. So the force basically ranked in priority where they needed to adjust their personnel. And I'm seeing constant reports about how they're mitigating that issue. That was a while ago. Now we've had a settlement, and the settlement was slightly improved than what we thought. So we're now able to get some of the officers doing those jobs back out. And there'll be more detail coming out about that once we've done it. So, but yeah, it's the most frustrating thing that I've had in 3.5 years. And until the funding formula is fixed, this is the problem that we're going to keep getting unless they get that done. So if there's one message as a town council you could give your local MP, get them to lobby for a funding formula to be sorted for Dorset.
Finally, Councillor Roberts, you put your hand up?
There was a couple of things. I know, having worked for one of the big retail stores, as you call them, in Wimborne, that their policy was you don't go out of your way to get into a confrontational
Absolutely.
situation.
Yeah.
I know they never prosecute, or very rarely ever prosecute, because it costs more to prosecute than the actual goods they lose. And the other thing is that one of the stores is now closing their doors, or the second set of doors, when the children come out of school. And I think that is a very bad induction of what is happening in this town, that the children are coming out of school, let's go shoplifting. So, you know, it doesn't reflect well on the town, or anyone for that matter. And the other thing is county lines. Having a couple of grandchildren at school, not in this town, in another Dorset town, I know it is very prevalent and also very, very frightening. The number of children are getting dragged into this.
So if I take that second point first, you're absolutely right. That's why I was told before I came into office, don't talk about drugs, it's too political. Hell's teeth, it's a single thing that we have as a society and need to address. So I'm going to keep on asking Dorset Police to shut county lines. I'm going to keep on getting the escape line to talk to parents about that issue, to try and help get kids out of it. You're absolutely right. As a parent and now grandparent of children in this county, I'm determined that I'm going to keep them away from drugs and actually make certain that we do as much as we can in order to address that issue. Which is why I want the prevention paid for in spades by the government. Your other point about the retail chains, you are absolutely right, they have different philosophies. So I'm aware of situations where they have CCTV. They have CCTV, but they haven't trained the staff to use the CCTV. They have security guards, but they won't give the security guards time off to do prosecutions. So those are some of the things that we've talked about at that first meeting and we'll continue to talk about. At the same time, some of them do report and do take forward prosecutions. We couldn't have the success we're now beginning to get with Operation Shopkeeper without having that partnership working. It means that our increase in shoplifting was significantly lower than the national average in the last set of figures.
The other point I did want to make was about vapes, because I live near the hospital and so I see the children going to school in the morning. I'm coming back down. And a lot of them that have or are smoking vapes are definitely underage. Now, how are they getting hold of these? And does anyone take any precautions or prosecutions, or just noting that these children are underage, they're going across the recreation ground, they go across in a haze. And I just think that possibly it's undercover, or schools might make some representation about this, because, as I said, I see it every day.
So again, there's a number of issues here. One is the schools are definitely making representation around vapes all the time. It's one of the reasons why I got to talk about trust, to make vapes one of the modules when they go into school to talk to children about. With my addiction and substance misuse hat on at a national level, I've clearly said to government that they need to do something about vapes. Two reasons. One is kids are getting a hold of them far too easily. Secondly, we've seen in America and indeed here that they get adulterated with other substances. So I would say 4 or 5 years ago, the first thing that the bad guys would try and get our young people into would be cannabis. Now it's vapes, then it's cannabis, then it's the other stuff. To my mind, and what I've said, and what we will continue to campaign upwards to government, is that we have to either adopt the New Zealand approach, which that vapes are for tobacco addiction. Therefore, why don't you have it through a pharmacy, and that's the only place you can get it, so it's done properly. Or we license the vape shops. Because at the moment, they're completely unlicensed. Now, what is happening is Dorset Police, with trading standards, are going into vape shops and they are closing them down. But there's a tobacco and vapes bill coming from the government. I'm hoping that there's something significantly restrictive in that.
Okay, thanks very much, Dave. I think we're out of time now. So can I thank you very much indeed for coming in? Should we just show our appreciation? Okay, so you can stay or it's up to you, Dave.
Well, I'll hang around because you've got Mr. Payne hopefully turning up, haven't you? Yeah.
Not so far.
No.
Okay, item 3 is apologies for absence. Town Clerk.
So we have received apologies from councillors Shane Farlett, who's at a cabinet meeting, Bill Jaggs was on holiday, Councillor Ian Sandy was at work, and we've also had apologies from Dorset councillors, Andy Todd and Jindy Atwell and Deacon Morgan.
Okay, so propose you accept those? Councillor Morgan and a seconder, Councillor Checkerwater. So all those in favour? Thank you very much. Public participation. Did you all speak? Okay, so if we go to the reports next, so Sergeant Payne isn't here.
No, declaration received anything. No.
Okay, we've got a good focus on the business, haven't we? The ward councillors, Councillor Checkerwater, want to say anything?
I don't represent DC for these meetings, but just an update perhaps that you remember there'd been some communication that we're going to go for a mayoral system and join BCP and other councils to become what was called a unitary authority, I think. That has failed for political reasons more than anything else, but I think there'll be further opportunities further down the line. I think that's the main issue. And then a budget was agreed in the last meeting probably 2 weeks ago. So that has gone up about 30%, I think. So most of that detail will come out through the communications.
Okay. Okay, in terms of the town manager report.
Do you want me to read out Andy Todd's?
Oh, sorry, yes, we've got Andy Todd's report.
Sorry, I'll read out what he said. He does touch on some of the things that Councillor Chakawata touched on. A balanced budget of 417.2 million was approved at the full council, Dorset full council. Of that total, 231.6 million, which is over 55%, was spent on adult social care and children's social care. The plan to introduce nighttime parking charges was suspended, subject to review, in large due to the campaigning by Councillor Bartlett concerned at the impact it would have on Wimborne's nighttime economy. There's been a report of graffiti at the North Lie Lane, the rail bridge. It has been removed. He doesn't know who removed it, but he's grateful for whoever did that. He's confirmed that the Barrel Bite scheme will cease in Coal Hill, Wimborne and Ferndown from the 20th of February. No compromise position was found with the contractor. Aldi, it's unlikely that the application will appear in April's meeting given the work start standing and the need for a new submission. The Safer Spaces meeting was delayed. It should have taken place today, but we keen to get BCP in attendance to explain how the system works, so they couldn't attend, so waiting for a new date for that meeting. A site meeting for By the Way Sam was scheduled with the DC Green Spaces project manager on the 4th of March to discuss the lack of maintenance. There's a GP surgeries campaign following comments online about the difficulty securing doctors' appointments. Vicky Slade, MP has written to the Chief Executive of NH Dorset for a week for the analysis of what's taking place in Wimborne, what are the issues here. So he'll report back on that, that'll be interesting. And then the devolution issue, Wessex has not been included in the first tranche of authorities to receive delegated responsibilities. There are many suggestions as to why, but it seems likely that they don't have the money to fund all the candidates, and many of those selected have specific financial woes that suggest that they may have required attention regardless.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so in terms of the town mayor's report, we've got some big events coming up that you'll be aware of. We've got the Freedom of the Town for the signals, we've got the Thanksgiving service, we've got the Civic Day when the different mayors come to Wimborne, and we've also got VE Day. I think I keep you pretty up to date about the fundraising and the charities, so I think that's the main things really. Next is, should you just go around the room and start with Chris?
Yeah, I think most of you will know that the second fire engine in Wimborne is not being removed. That I got from the acting fire officer, chief fire officer, and that the visit to the fire station is this Thursday, 7:15. Meet there, and it's an informal visit, but we can talk to them about what they do, and I'm pretty sure they'll ask us to help them with their recruitment of firemen. And I also discovered this week, War Graves Week is going to be the 2nd to the 11th of May 2025, and I'm hoping to do a tour of the Commonwealth War Graves up at the cemetery at the beginning of that week.
Thank you very much, Councillor.
Nothing to report. No.
Councillor.
Nothing to report, Chairman. Thank you.
Mr. Morgan.
Was it last week, Wimborne bid meeting, it was mentioned that the bridge over from the co-op to the back of the car park behind Aroma is suffering a little bit of wear and tear. They are contacting Dorset Council about it. I did wonder whether this is something we should co-sign in terms of trying to put a little bit more effort in. I mean, if somebody has an accident on there, that's not really going to look very good on either of us. So, don't know whether Tammy's been in touch at all. Okay, but I think I will get her to share information. That's the direction our dialogue is going. The other one is the walkway art, so the subway that goes from the Avondale car park. I mean, we know it was somewhat destroyed a while ago by a couple of young local residents, and there was a project which I know you know, Jeff, I don't know whether everybody around the table does. There was a project, a local artist has been enlisted to work with Bowcroft College in coming up with a design for that. It's been signed off and approved by Wimborne Bid, and that they are approaching Dorset Council currently in order to just get finalised permissions, and that's expected to happen around about May, June time, and it will involve having to close that subway for I think about a week. Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Burt.
Nothing from me.
Thank you.
Mr.
Councillor Benton.
Nothing for me, thank you.
Councillor Trimble.
Nothing from me.
Councillor.
Nothing to report.
Chadwick.
I think you'd have seen some communication from, well, probably it has not been made public, is it? Regarding we need to improve road safety on the Iron Bridge at some point, so there's some communication that will get circulated.
Okay. Councillor Hudson.
Yeah, I've got a few updates. So the Wimborne War on Waste community litter picks. The next one is the 23rd of March. It's 11:30 till 1. everyone's welcome. The 1st of March, Planet Wimborne will have a community networking event. So it's a chance to refresh the groups under the umbrella of Planet Wimborne on what they can do to help and benefit them. And they'll also be highlighting the aims and goals of the group and how they can collectively align together. Wimborne More on Waste February meeting. When I attended that, the best bit was that the blister pack collection is going really strong, and they've now collected 39 full boxes from the shop, and they are huge boxes. So that's there. If you want to bring old medicine packs there, chop them up and they get recycled properly. And lastly, just for me with the Community Speed Watch, just a call for volunteers to aid with the Community Speed Watch. It will be as little as a couple of hours a month to dedicate if you want to get involved. So we're firstly focusing on the Cranbourne Road, and then we're going to move to other areas. But if you've ever been concerned at speeds that you've witnessed or felt vulnerable when crossing the road, and feeling like you want to help and protect the community, make a change, then please let me know, so we can rebook the postponed training, which fell short for tomorrow because the number of people that dropped out. So I'll be really grateful. And also anyone watching the live stream or those that might have written into the town hall about this topic, feel free to reach out again or tell your friends and neighbours, because the data that we gather will make a difference.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Roberts.
I'm just trying to collect my thoughts, Chairman. Wimborne in Bloom, I think, is the only one I have been to this semester, shall I say. We have their quiz on the 7th of March. I and several other people are putting in for a team. At the moment, I'm one short. Deputy Clerk was going to come, he can't. So I'm looking for one more volunteer or pressed gang volunteer. But they are well on with their preparations for the year for the flower beds and things. And there was talk about going in for the national scheme again, but they felt that it is a lot of work. The volunteers are all getting older, and they might, I'm not sure whether they've quite decided, just to do it for the town itself, which is an area of just a mile around. So that was about it.
Thank you. We managed to miss item 4, so declaration of interest. Councillor Brown.
Yeah, I'm a member of the Wimborne Militia and act as town crier.
Any other dispensations? No. Okay, we go to item 7, full council minutes, 28th of January. So we've got the minutes at appendix 1. So I've signed those, so I'll propose them. Is there a seconder? Councillor Morgan. All those in favour? Thank you very much. Committee minutes and working group notes to receive and note the following minutes, notes, school council, climate action working group, finance and governance committee, HR committee, town liaison group, recreation, leisure and buildings committee. So if we just note those.
So we did. I wasn't able to send off the recreation and leisure committee minutes because they weren't ready yet, so we're still tweaking with them, and there will be a recommendation from that committee coming to full council next month with regards to CCTV, so yes, keep an eye out for that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, item 9, recommendations from the council standing committees, climate action working group. To review the Town Council's Climate Emergency Declaration from 2019 and ensure it's fit for purpose in terms of current climate action relevant to town and parish councils, and daughter councils' climate and nature strategic vision. So, we want to see if everyone's happy with the previous declaration, or they want to ask the working group to bring an updated version back to the council. Any views on that? Was there a word, Town Hall?
A lot of work went into the declaration going back to 2019. I wasn't here for that, and there's probably a few councillors that were here for that, but it's whether you think it's up to scratch for now, whether it's relevant for where we are now.
Do people know it?
Well, it was attached as an appendix,
Right.
yeah.
Any comments at all?
Well, the issue hasn't gone away. The pledge is perfectly reasonable. I don't think the conversation is about the pledge and the announcing a climate emergency. It's about doing something. So let's get on with that bit, shall we?
Any other comments? Councillor Brown.
I did find it hard to read because some of it's upside down.
So do you want to ask the working group to bring an updated version back to full council? Is that what you're recommending, Councillor?
No, I'm saying declaration's fine, let's just do some work.
So, I think we're saying no to that. Yes, is everyone happy with that? You say no to that, Town Hall?
So can we have a proposal that we support the 2019?
I propose that the declaration in place is fit for current purpose.
I'm having a second. Second that. All those in favour? Yeah. Okay, good. Now, second bullet point, item 9. Approve the group's terms of reference, including creating a climate action plan for full council to adopt. So we're just noting that. And finally, apply for an up-to-date carbon audit for all town council buildings, including buildings in the cemetery. There's no cost to this work. We just need to propose seconded and vote to accept. So proposed by Councillor Morgan, seconded by Councillor Billington. All those in favour? Okay, good. 9.2, Finance Governance Committee to fund the cost of the replacement water refill fountain at Redcott's Toilet of £2,320 from community infrastructure levy monies. So there's no budget for this item. It's a good use of SIL monies, otherwise we'll have to come out of our general reserves. But we just need to propose a second-hand vote.
So just for clarification, I did check with Dorset Council's SIL community officer, and they thought it was a very good use of money, especially as it's been upgraded for a water refilling purpose. This suggestion has come from me to the Finance and Governance Committee because if it doesn't come out of a specific budget, it'll come out of our general reserves, and SIL is another opportunity to spend some of the money.
Okay, Councillor Nash.
Yeah, just to reiterate that this was a thing we noticed in finance and governance where there wasn't a pot of money for this, and I'd like to suggest that people take this. If you don't know what a SIL is, go and look it up. I had to. There's quite a lot of stuff I think we could be doing with that money that we're not. So this might be the first of a few of these.
Are you happy to propose this?
Very, yeah.
And a seconder, Councillor Morgan. And all those in favour? Anybody against? No. Okay, Kevin, have you got an additional recommendation from the RLBC?
No, it will come to next full council.
Okay, item cemetery, to note the activity report that you all received in appendix 8, to consider a review of allotment fees, appendix 9. So we're looking for an increase in cemetery allotment plots. This needs to be proposed, seconded, voted on. Our cemetery manager is recommending £50 per square metre over a 2-year period, 50-50.
1 year 50% increase, and then the second year. It's not all in 1 year, it's spread over 2 years.
Any comments on this?
One of the things that wasn't mentioned, and I know it isn't our area of responsibility, but what were the allotment fees for the allotments that are run by Dean's Court Estate? We don't know. I just wondered whether that we were trying to get parity with all of those.
I mean, councils, Dean's Court's not council,
No,
is it?
no.
It's private. No, the only quotes I provided was
Yeah.
other surrounding councils and some BCP councils.
Yeah. I just wondered what they were.
It was on the appendix on that RLB, but I don't know if they're top of the head.
Councillor Roberts.
I was just wondering, Chairman, what difference the 50 pence, was it, per square metre, was going to make overall to the allotment holders, because they're quite big plots up there.
It's in the report, isn't it?
It is.
Is it on there?
It's in the report.
It's in the report. Okay, any other comments? So we're happy for someone to propose that. Proposed by Councillor.
Just to clarify, we're doing this now, but this is in respect to the plot fees for 2026 onwards, because the legislation limits our ability to do it a maximum of 12 months notice. So it won't take place until April 2026 onwards.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, who was the proposer?
Councillor Wheeler, seconder. Councillor Billington, all those in favour? Yes, thank you. Okay, item 11, correspondence and consultations. Consultation with the TRO on Cowgrove, Eyebridge, and this is about really a proven response as detailed by Councillor Richmond. Just want to say a word about it.
Okay, so bearing in mind that we're live streaming,
Yeah.
and this is not a public consultation, I suggest that we might want to go to the end of the meeting for exempt business. It might be a sensitive issue.
Okay, should we do that? Okay, so future meetings.
Chairman,
Yes, Councillor Burt.
getting up is not as easy as it used to be. My apologies for the next full council meeting. And I did hear you mention a civic service. What date is that one going to be?
It's the 11th of May.
Thank you.
Okay. So future meetings, we've got the Minster there, planning environment, 4th of March, community events in Asian, 11th of March, joint group, 13th of March, finance and governance, 8th of March, full council, 25th of March. Are there any motions for the next meeting? Anybody want to suggest something? Well, one idea I've been talking to the town clerk about, that we can just raise now, shall we? So, I just noticed that some councillors in some areas do have a sort of monthly surgery. On a local library, you can go along and talk to a councillor if you want to about an issue. It's an opportunity for us to clarify our role. And also, if people say I can never contact the councillor, it might be a useful thing to do. So I'll just sort of throw it out there as a suggestion. Any comments on that?
Yeah, I fully support it. The more we're known in town and what we do and what we don't do, then the more contact we can have and the more value we can add.
Okay. So we'll put a paper together on that.
So it's going to go to community events and liaison committee,
Right.
and then it'll come back to full council's recommendation at some point.
And then the other thing just to mention here was about hybrid meetings for all committees. So what about that?
That's going to be on a motion for the next council meeting.
Okay. Okay, so shall we go into exempt business?
Yeah, do you want to just propose?
So shall I propose we go into exempt business? Who'd like a second on that? Councillor Wheeler, all those in favour?